Welcome back to 1d8+1 Leonal Orbs. This is Barbarian Rage, part 2. And with hit points plus rage. Uh, Hit points from rage, I guess. Raging with hit points. Yeah, that's a clever, like Elvis song or something like. Oh, boom, 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 boom. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I almost had it. Nothing but a hound dog raging with hit points. Yeah. So I just got like one there type thing, and that's 14 type thing. And we're gonna take the 14 from the other page type thing. That's no rage type thing. And that's gonna be a 2 modifier type thing. So I left the 2 there. And with the character feat, that's toughness type thing of 3 at first level type thing. Assuming no roll type thing from the first part type thing. That's 12 plus 2 plus 3 type thing in that type of sense. And that's 14 plus 3, that's 17. Although some with like a human feat might take toughness twice and then get up to 17 plus 3. So that's 12. And then plus 2 plus 3 there. And that's 17. And now from that type of thing, we're going to go for the number line. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8th level barbarian. We're going to make a first level type thing there. And that's 14. No rage right now. That's 12, 2, and 3. Now we're going to go to second level type thing. And then we're still at 17 hit points right now at that type of sense. We're not at 0, we're still at 17. So at first level type thing in that type of sense, that's our first level value type thing, is that we're at 17 hit points. Not at 0, but at 17. And so just want to keep that because there's a chance because you're working on a new roll type thing, you'll truncate the rolls previous and make this the only roll that you ever had in hit points total type thing in that type of sense. And you had previous checkouts type thing in that order type thing in that type of sense. So might want to remember that type thing. That's a 14 type thing. And that's a score that's second level type thing. And assuming a roll of 12 plus 2, that's 14 plus the 12 and 2 and 3 beforehand. So 14 plus 17. So that's 14, 17 plus 14. And that's going to be equal to 31. So at second level, you have 31 hit points. Now take the 3 from there and type thing in that type of sense. And that's your third level. And you're still with a 14 score. And in that type of thing, that's to 12 type thing in that type of sense. And then that's 12 plus 2. And now that's another 14, assuming that they rolled a 12 type thing, he or she, and they had that 12 plus 2. So it's another 12, add on 12 type thing, plus 2, that's 45. So now we go to fourth level type thing in that type of sense. And that's going to be still with your 14 score. That's 12 plus 2, that's another 14 added on to 45. And that's here. That's 59. And then at fifth level type thing, we're going to add on another 14 type thing in that type of sense. That's 73. The sixth level type thing in that type of sense, we're going to have 14 type thing, and that's going to be 12 from the hit die plus 2 constitution modifier from the 14 modifier. That's 87. And then at 7th level type thing in that type of sense, we're going to do it again type thing. They roll from their hit die of a d12 type thing. That's once again there's a hit die of d12 right there. They're going to roll a 12 in that type of sense. And there's a 12, and then they add their constitution modifier, which is a 2 from their 14 type thing. There's a 2. And then they're going to add in 12, and then plus 2, that's 101. And then from there, that's going to be another one, and that's 14. That's going to be 12 plus 2, and that's 115. So now we can do that type of thing if we did 8 times d12 type thing in that type of sense. And that's 115. That's 12, 8 levels at 12 apiece type thing. And that's 96. And then from there we also had 8 levels of 2s. So 8 levels, 8 levels times 2, that's 16. And we've got our toughness of 3. So plus our toughness of 3, plus our 96 originally type thing, that's 115. And that's how many hit points an 8th level barbarian could have if they did a 14 constitution. Now, a little bit more off chart type thing in that type of sense. From that same 15 type thing, we can make even more things go wrong. Excuse me, I've got to blow my nose. But in that type of sense, which is what adds to the complexity type thing, is the amount of charting that you're putting on with that. Okay, now on that type of thing, I've got to, I'm going to draw this real quick type thing. So now we've got to go from the chart of point spinning, point score chart, and from there, then we can go to race, and then we can go to rage. Okay, like that type thing in that type of sense. So that's point score, and then we're going to add in race, and then we're going to add in rage type thing to our score in that type of sense, and then redo all our hit points. So now in that type of sense, we go here, which has been an extreme complication type thing here. It's here, and I'm going to do this here, and then I'm going to put this up here, and that's here. Let me take that picture again here. Okay, now I took that picture again, and that's of the dwarf racial traits, that's +2 con. So now, in that type of sense, let's step this up a little bit, which I didn't do. Let's see here. Go here. That's a 14 type thing. And then the dwarf racial substitution type thing in that type of sense of adding +2 to it type thing here. So now, in that one type thing, that's 2 constitution type thing, and that goes to the 14 here in that type of sense, plus the 2 type thing from your race type thing in that type of sense, which is effectively going to make that a 16 type thing in between that. So that's going to make 14 plus 2 type thing. That's what your race type thing in that type of sense. And then that 16 is going to go here in that type of thing. Its modifier is going to be a +3. And then from there, then you're going to add your 4 of rage type thing. And that's going to be 16 plus 4 type thing. And that's going to be 20. And then you have to look up the modifier associated with 20, which is 5. And that's here. And that's 20. And then that's the +5. So now, once you rage type thing with that, you'll gain your 4 constitution type thing and go from 16 to 20 for 5 type thing. Now you have your D12s in that type of sense, and in that, you have a 5 modifier type thing for per level type thing, or the difference between the 16 plus 3 in that type of thing. That was the 16 had the 20 had a 5 modifier, and our original start type thing was the 3 modifier, the 16. So that's a difference of 2 points per level type thing of increase in that type of sense. So, although I didn't do one with 14 or 10 or 12, 10 to 14 in that type of sense, or 14 to 18, I think with that 14 score, along with that what do you call, race adjustment type thing, and then adding the rage adjustment type thing to it, that is, in that type of sense, not obtuse type thing, or obtuse. I think it's obtuse because Family Guy was making a joke about the greater than 90 degree thing, and the greater 90 degree thing is obtuse, but I think it's also a double meaning word, like to run to the theater or to run in your stocking type thing in that type of sense. Like you move your legs and you run towards the theater, and you're like, oh, I've got a run in my stocking type thing in that type of sense. So that's that's the same word as motioning. Or it had a great run at the movie theater by staying in the movie theater for 11 weeks. Those are all like examples of the same word of run type thing, and that is going on there. So now we had a 14 there, and then we had a 14 in our score. Then we had the adjustment to a 16 score from our points that we spent, 5 points spent, then dwarf racial plus 2 constitution to it, and then in that type of thing, could put 2 right there in that type of sense, and then rage with the constitution gave us the 20 type thing in that type of sense, or added 4 to our previous value type thing, which was 16 type thing in that type of sense, and that made 20, which gave us a 5 modifier throughout the whole chart, and in that type of sense, gave us still the potential chance of doing D12s type thing there. So I'm going to close this up here. And let's see here, if all the sample space outcomes are equally likely, then the probability that an event will occur is equal to the ratio, the number of sample space outcomes that correspond to the event, and the total number of sample space outcomes. Here, in that type of sense, the total number of sample space outcomes was our D12 type thing in that type of sense. Now, we could have said that it was 7 type thing in that type of sense. So that's 7, a roll of 7 type thing, over a roll of 12, the total space that was possible in that die type thing. So 7 divided by 12 was kind of near half. 6 over 12 would be half. So in that type of sense, we're going to take 7 divided by 12, and then that's 58.3 type thing in that type of sense times 100, and that's 58.33. Now I'm going to take 6 divided by 12 type thing, and that's going to equal 0.5, and take that times 100, and then that's 50. So 53 is greater than 53 point, well, let me take the 7 again, taking that type of sense. 7 divided by 12, and that's, yeah, 58.33, and that's 58 is greater than 50 type thing in that type of sense. So it's getting closer type thing in that type of means to 100%. And so then that's 11 divided by 12 type thing. Let's try that. And then 11 divided by 12, and that's 91.66%. Like that. So in that type of sense, now we can return these out of that, but we're not assuming that it's going to be the total number of our events going to be a roll of 11. We're going to assume that it's a 12 out of 12 type thing in that type of sense. Now we're going to put that 12 there, and that's 12 there type thing in that type of sense. And now you don't have to think that anything was insinuated wrongly to the process of it type thing in that type of sense. So now in 8 levels type thing, that's D12s type thing, assuming 8 levels of 12. So 8 levels of 12 type thing in that type of sense. Oops, I didn't put that on the calculator. That's alright, wait on it. 8 times 12, and that's 96 again. And then we've got 8 levels of 5. So we've got 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5. That's 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. So that's 8 times, oops, that's 8 levels times 5, which is equal to 40. And in that type of thing, so it's 40 plus the 96 type thing in that type of sense, and that was with rage, plus 3. So now we've got to add 96 and plus 40 from the Constitution modifier, plus the 3 of toughness type thing, 139. So within 8 level type thing in that type of sense, there's 139 possible hit points as an outcome type thing for your character. And despite armor and other things like that in that type of sense, that could, yes, you could be hit type thing in that type of sense at 14 or 15 armor class or something like that. But with 139 hit points, if you're avoiding the right material as a modifier type thing, like if they're throwing daggers at you or something like that, and a critical, daggers are D4 times 2 type thing in that type of sense, that's a 2D4 type thing here. So that's 4, and then plus 4, the strength modifier, so that's 4 plus 4, which is 8. And so 8 off of your 139 type thing, that's minus 8 type thing, 131 hit points left over type thing for your rest of your round, or if you have an attack type thing coming to you type thing as you wade through the traffic there of the encounter. Alright, thanks for listening to 1d8+1 Leonal Orbs. That's the Raging with Hit Points. Have a great one, and thanks for learning blocking with me.